What if one of the world's great powers could watch any point on Earth from a single, untraceable vehicle in space? A vehicle that isn't just a satellite passing predictably overhead, but an active, thinking hunter, able to move, observe, and react in total secrecy. This isn't science fiction. China has a mysterious, reusable spaceplane that's performing shocking maneuvers high above our heads right now. In this video, we reveal how this Shenlong, or divine dragon, could become the ultimate spy tool, a ghost in the heavens holding the entire globe under its watchful eye. The old era of predictable satellite passes is over. A new global surveillance frontier has just opened up, and its implications could change the balance of power on Earth. The story of this spaceplane is one of the most mysterious and closely watched narratives in modern aerospace. For years, it was little more than a rumor, whispers in intelligence circles about China's ambition to match America's own secretive X-37B spaceplane. The name it's often called in the West, Shenlong, translates to divine dragon, a fittingly mythical title for a project wrapped in so much secrecy. While the United States Space Force is tight-lipped about its X-37B, it at least acknowledges it exists. China, by contrast, maintains a near-total wall of silence. Official statements from Beijing are rare and give us almost nothing. Following its most recent launch on December 14, 2023, a brief state media report simply said the craft would test reusable technologies and conduct scientific experiments for the peaceful use of space. This kind of vague, boilerplate language is a hallmark of the program. It's this deliberate ambiguity that has turned the Shenlong into a subject of intense speculation for governments and a global community of amateur satellite trackers who have taken on the challenge of piercing the veil. The program's history is sparse, but tells a story of rapid progress. A first flight in September 2020 was incredibly short, just 2 days. Then, a second mission in August 2022 stayed in orbit for a staggering 276 days, a clear signal that the program was maturing fast. The third mission, launched in late 2023, spent 268 days in orbit before returning to a remote desert airbase at Lop Nur in early September 2024. This accelerating tempo suggests China has either perfected the rapid turnaround of a single vehicle or, more likely now, has a small fleet of these space planes. So, what does it look like? China hasn't released any official photos, but analysis of the rocket payload fairing suggests a vehicle very similar in size and shape to the American X-37B. It's believed to be a robotic, winged craft that launches like a rocket and lands like a plane. In August of 2024, amateur astronomers even managed to capture grainy images of the vehicle in orbit, revealing what might be a delta-wing design. This reusability is the key. It dramatically lowers costs and increases the tempo of space access. But what is China doing up there? The answer lies in the strange behavior the divine dragon has shown once it reaches the darkness of orbit. The real mystery of the Shenlong isn't just what it is, but what it does. These aren't passive orbits, they're active, dynamic, and to outside observers, deeply perplexing. The most startling of these behaviors has been nicknamed laying eggs. Just days after its December 2023 launch, the Shenlong began releasing objects into orbit. At first, 6 distinct objects were detected, labeled Object A through F, by the US Space Force and the global network of trackers watching intently. These weren't just random bits of junk. Some of them started emitting signals. Veteran satellite tracker Scott Tilley noted that Object A was broadcasting signals similar to what he'd seen from wingman objects on previous missions. This wasn't a one-off event. During its second mission, Shenlong was seen releasing and then apparently recapturing a smaller satellite, practicing a cosmic game of catch. This demonstrated a sophisticated ability for what's known as rendezvous and proximity operations, or RPOs, the skill of getting very, very close to other things in space. Then, in May 2024, nearly 6 months into its third mission, it happened again. The Shenlong released another mysterious object while orbiting about 600 kilometers up. This new object, catalogued as 59884, settled into a similar orbit as the mothership, kicking off a fresh wave of speculation. So what could these objects be? The possibilities are as fascinating as they are concerning. One idea from astrophysicist Jonathan McDowell is that they could be anything from a deployed sub-satellite to a piece of hardware ejected before landing. The more advanced theory is that these are tests of on-demand satellite deployment systems. The Shenlong could be practicing how to place small satellites into specific orbits with little warning, a capability with huge military implications. Imagine needing to replace a damaged spy satellite over a conflict zone almost instantly. A reusable spaceplane makes that a real possibility. A more ominous explanation is that these are inspector pods or even practice targets. The Shenlong could be sharpening its ability to approach and analyze other satellites. An inspector that can sidle up to a rival's billion-dollar military satellite to take pictures or probe its systems is an incredible intelligence asset. But the line between inspecting and interfering is razor thin. The same tech that lets you get a closer look could also be used to disrupt, disable, or even destroy that satellite. These shocking maneuvers are a clear sign that China is mastering the delicate, dangerous dance of close-quarters operations in space, a capability that directly challenges the security of every other nation's assets in orbit. The Shenlong's advanced maneuvers aren't just tech demos, they signal the dawn of a new era in global surveillance. For decades, space reconnaissance has been built on predictable orbits. A spy satellite passes over a specific place at a known time. While powerful, this gives people an opportunity to hide things when they know the eye in the sky is looking. A maneuverable, stealthy spaceplane like Shenlong shatters that paradigm. It's no longer a passive eye passing on a fixed schedule. It's an active hunter. It can alter its orbit and change its inclination to revisit areas of interest far more frequently than a traditional satellite. While it can't loiter over a single point, orbital mechanics don't allow that. It can provide a much more persistent watch. It could be tasked to monitor a US aircraft carrier group in the South China Sea, observe military buildups on a border, or track tests of new stealth aircraft with a responsiveness that fixed-orbit satellites just can't match. This perfectly complements China's already huge and growing network of intelligence satellites. China has invested heavily in optical and radar satellites to get a big-picture view of military activity, especially in the Indo-Pacific. The Shenlong can act as a force multiplier for this network. A normal satellite might spot something interesting, but the Shenlong could be sent to get a much closer, more detailed look. This 1-2 punch of wide-area monitoring followed by targeted inspection is a game-changer for intelligence. However, the implications go beyond simple observation and into the realm of space warfare. Those same rendezvous and proximity operations could be used offensively. It's theoretically possible for a spaceplane to approach an adversary's satellite and use a robotic arm to interfere with it, spray its optics to blind it, or execute a damaging flyby. In a future conflict, disabling an opponent's communication, navigation, and intelligence satellites would be a devastating opening move. The Shenlong is, in effect, a prototype for that kind of weapon. Its existence means every nation has to consider that its most critical space assets are vulnerable. The US has its own X-37B with equally secret missions, but the rise of a peer competitor with a similar observable capability escalates the stakes for everyone. The orbital domain is no longer a sanctuary, it's an emerging battlefield. The Shenlong spaceplane isn't a solo project, it's a critical piece of a much larger puzzle. China's grand strategy to become the world's leading space power. This new space race isn't just about planting flags on the moon for prestige, though that's part of it. This is a strategic fight for control of the ultimate high ground, with massive economic and military consequences. China's space program is advancing at a breathtaking pace. While the West watches Shenlong, Beijing is also building its Tiangong space station, planning manned missions to the moon and launching deep space probes. This growth is powered by a national policy called military-civil fusion. This doctrine intentionally blurs the lines between commercial and military projects, ensuring that every civilian tech leap can be leveraged for military advantage. This strategy is mirrored across China's military. The same period that saw the Shenlong mature has also seen the unveiling of the J-20 stealth fighter, the development of the carrier-based J-35 jet, and work on new aircraft carriers. China is pursuing a multi-domain modernization, trying to challenge American technological superiority on land, at sea, in the air, and now in space. The fact that China's Shenlong and the US X-37B were operating in orbit at the same time is the clearest sign of this new competition. As General B. Chance Saltzman, the US Chief of Space Operations, noted, the near-simultaneous launches of the two craft in December 2023 were probably no coincidence. He went on to say, "It's no surprise that the Chinese are extremely interested in our spaceplane. We're extremely interested in theirs. These are two of the most watched objects in orbit while they're in orbit." It's a quiet admission that a high-stakes game of cat and mouse is being played hundreds of miles above us. Both vehicles represent a revolutionary capability, the power to put something in orbit, have it perform complex tasks for months or years, and then bring it home to see what you've learned. This creates an escalatory loop of development. Every new move by one side demands a counter from the other, pushing both nations to develop even more advanced space warfare capabilities. The days of space being a benign environment are fading fast. It is now a full-blown arena of great power competition. The emergence of the Shenlong, alongside its American counterpart, forces us to face an unsettling future. We're on the verge of an era where the heavens are no longer just a source of wonder, but a potential theater of conflict, veiled in secrecy. The question isn't if space will be militarized, but how the world will manage this new reality. The core challenge from vehicles like Shenlong and the X-37B is their built-in ambiguity. A spaceplane practicing rendezvous maneuvers could be testing satellite repair techniques or rehearsing a satellite attack. Without transparency from Washington or Beijing, and none is expected, military planners have to assume the worst. This fuels a cycle of mistrust and speeds up the development of space weapons, increasing the risk of a miscalculation that could spark a conflict in orbit. The strategic implications are immense. The ability to threaten a nation's space assets, which are vital for everything from GPS and global finance to military command and control, is a powerful coercive tool. A future where fleets of stealthy, reusable spaceplanes can patrol the orbits, ready to act at a moment's notice, fundamentally alters global security. What happens next will help define the 21st century in space. Will new norms and treaties be established to govern these dual-use vehicles? Or will orbit become a lawless frontier where skirmishes could precede conflict on Earth? The Divine Dragon has taken flight, and in doing so, it has carried the world across a new threshold. We've entered a frontier of surveillance and strategic competition, where the silent maneuvers of robotic spacecraft could determine the future of power back on the ground. The ultimate purpose of the Divine Dragon remains a secret, but its impact is already crystal clear. the sky above us will never be the same. If you want to stay on the cutting edge of military technology and understand the new dynamics of the great power space race, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. What do you think is the true purpose of the Shenlong spaceplane? Is it a tool for science, surveillance, or space warfare? Let us know your theories in the comments below.